"And you will not believe what I was told about Lady—" Mrs. Bianca Roberts continued without so much as a pause for breath. And why should she? The latest on dit about Lady whoever she was talking about now was entirely too tasty to keep to herself. Under other circumstances, Miranda, Lady Garret, would be alternately amused or annoyed at her inability to get a word in. Today she appreciated her sister's ramblings. She had entirely too much on her mind to pay any attention at all, and Bianca's enthusiastic and incessant chatter made it unnecessary to do so. All Bianca really required in terms of a response was the occasional nod or murmur of surprise or clucking of the tongue. In recent years, Miranda had become quite adept at it. It did seem she did some of her best thinking when Bianca was confident she had her rapt attention. "Can imagine my surprise, of course, particularly when I heard, from a quite reliable source, mind you, that she had had quite enough—" Miranda sipped her tea and smiled with encouragement. She had long gotten over this particular deception. It did no real harm and kept her sister from prying too deeply into Miranda's activities. Activities she would much prefer to keep private. Who knew how her family, especially her brothers, might react? The Hadley Atwaters considered themselves a fairly proper family. Adrian, of course, would be the most disapproving. Her oldest brother and the current Earl of Waterston was a great stickler for propriety, even if, on occasion, he could also be most surprising. Miranda suspected that was due to the influence of his wife, Evelyn. Still, one couldn't count on most surprising. Her next older brother, Hugh, was a barrister, and as such all too cognizant of proper behaviour. Her remaining brother, Sebastian, who had always flouted tradition in his own life, might well be her greatest ally, given his wife Veronica's outspoken tendencies and penchant for support of various rights for women. Although, on the other hand, what one overlooked in one's wife, one might not accept in one's sister. As for the female members of the family, one never quite knew on which side of a debate her mother and her oldest sister Diana would fall. Mother could be startlingly progressive when she wished to be, and Diana had always had an independent nature. Even so, this was not the sort of thing with which one wanted to test them. Bianca might think it rather exciting, but she had never been particularly good at keeping a secret. Precisely why Miranda had gone to great pains not to reveal so much as a hint of her activities. There was nothing Bianca liked better than ferreting out secrets. Her cousin Portia, who was as much a sister to her as Diana and Bianca, would certainly be shocked. Why, it was one thing for a lady to dabble in the arts or to take up the cause of charitable works, and quite another to become involved in business. This simply wasn't the sort of thing a Hadley Atwater did. The fact that this was Miranda and not another member of the family would only add to their shock. Her family considered her the quietest of the lot and the most reserved. She was the youngest, and the others had long felt she needed their protection. It was a source of annoyance, even if she had never said anything. It had always been so much easier to avoid confrontation than to exhibit outright defiance. John had recognized, and indeed admired, her strength of character, which was yet another reason why she had loved him. Given that it was her fortune after all. Not that her family had any say in the matter, not really. Miranda was, after all, 28 years of age and financially independent, and she had been a widow for nearly 3 years. She was used to making her own decisions now, and make them she would. Besides, she loved what she was doing. While she did appreciate her family's advice, and as the youngest of 6 children advice was in abundance, she would follow her own path, a path that had begun innocently enough. Indeed, one could say she had taken the first step upon that path when she had first met her late husband. And needless to say, at first I was shocked by the mere thought. Miranda had met John Garret, younger brother of Viscount Garret, at a lecture on the influence of Palladio and English architecture. Miranda had been one of the few women present, but she had always had an interest in the design of buildings. Indeed, she had drawn houses, both practical and fanciful, for much of her life. So she had summoned her courage, enlisted the assistance of an elderly aunt as a chaperone, and attended. The lecture had been fascinating, but not nearly as interesting as the dashing Mr. Garret. He was handsome and amusing, and